Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be smoking up some beautiful beef ribs. These are super delicious and super easy. So y'all hang around because you're going to want to give these a try.
Welcome to South Fire BBQ.
Okay, we've got our ribs all rinsed off and patted dry. And so we're going to do just a little bit of trimming on them. Now, first of all, if you'll notice, these have a membrane on the back, just like all the pork ribs do and all that. Now, with the pork ribs, we usually take the membranes off. On the beef ribs, we want to leave the membrane on. This will help keep the bones from falling out and kind of hold everything together later on as they get really, really tender. So we're going to leave it where it is. Now on this top side, a lot of people trim this all the way down to the meat. And I've tried it several ways and I really don't see any benefit to taking it all off. And also, I kind of like having some of that fat left on there because, of course, fat is flavor. And it'll also help us build a nice little bark on top of these. But what I do want to do is trim off any kind of excess pieces here or thick areas. I don't know if you can see that is just a big old glob of fat. We don't need that. We're just going to pretty it up a little bit. But I'm not going to take a whole lot off of here. Just a few little places so it looks nice and neat. Now these ribs, this rack here weighs about 6.5 pounds. So it's a nice pretty rack. And you'll find these are called a lot of different things. These are chuck ribs, beef chuck ribs. They're also referred to as dino ribs. You'll hear them called that. And these come from up towards the front of the animal next to the chuck section. These will come from the ribs 2 through 5. And then you'll have the 6 through 8, the 3-bone rack that they call the Bronto or Brontosaurus ribs. The real big ones will be after these. But you'll see them referred to as a few different things. So don't let it fool you. They'll either be chuck ribs, sometimes they'll be chuck plate ribs. And of course, most common thing is the dino ribs. And that's about all I'm going to do on the top of these. I don't want to get too much of that off. Like I say, just the thick areas. Yeah, that looks pretty good right there. So we are ready to get our seasoning on. And what I use on my ribs is the same thing I use on my brisket. It's a Texas style brisket rub, so it's a little bit peppered forward, but it's basically just an SPG, salt, pepper, and garlic. And I'll put the ingredients that I use up above for you, so you can have that if you want to use that. Or if you have a favorite rub for beef that you like, then by all means, use that. I find this works really well with beef. It pairs up really nice. Now, I'm not going to put a lot of seasoning on this membrane side because there's not really anything back here we're going to eat. And there's no real purpose in seasoning this at all. I just think it it looks better, and I just don't feel right if I don't put a little bit on there. So I am going to put a little bit of seasoning on that membrane side. And of course we want to get our edges here pretty good. We want to get a nice little coating of this on here. Like I say, this will help us build a little bit of a nice bark on here and add some texture and flavor to our ribs. And I'm not using a binder. I don't really think we need it, and I don't really care to use binders if I don't need to. I think they're just a waste, and I think they, a lot of times they kind of prevent your seasoning from being able to penetrate into the meat and soak in good. They kind of hold it on the surface. So we're just gonna, and these don't need it. This is gonna stick on here just fine. And then we'll just pat that in. Remember, always pat your meat. Don't rub it. If you rub it, it'll form clumps. And nobody wants to eat a big clump. And there we go. And that's all there is to getting our ribs ready for the smoker. Now I'm going to do these tomorrow, where I've got plenty of time and all. You don't have to do it the next day if you don't want to. I would put if you're going to do it the same day, I'd put the seasoning on there, just wrap them up, set them aside, let them sit for at least a half hour to an hour so that rub can take hold and penetrate just a little bit. And then you can go right on the smoker with them. Like I say, I'm just going to do mine tomorrow for time's sake and all, doing the filming and stuff, and enjoy being outside. So I'm going to wrap these up, put them in the fridge, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Okay, we are out at the pergola, and I've already got our ribs in the smoker, got our smoke going, and we're going to be running the smoker at 275 all the way through the cook, and we'll be using pecan for our smoke today. So we're going to let these go now for, an hour or two, and then we'll come back and take a look at them and see how things are going. So we'll see y'all back in just a little bit. Okay, it has been about an hour since we put our ribs in, and our internal temperature is a little over 100 degrees right now. So we just want to take a look and make sure everything's going okay. As you can see, they are looking absolutely beautiful. Our color is coming along great. Our rub is starting to set up really nice. So we're just going to slide these back in and let them cook, and we'll check back in about an hour. Alrighty, it has been 3 hours since we put our ribs in, and we've reached an internal temperature of 156 degrees. So I think we are good to get these out and get them wrapped. Let's just take a look here. The color is just fabulous. The bark is set up good. Plenty of moisture still on top. We look incredible. Okay, I'm going to gather up a couple things and we'll get these out and get them wrapped up. So we will be back in just a minute. All right, we've got our ribs out of the smoker and they look absolutely beautiful. So we want to get them wrapped up now and get them back in the smoker and get them nice and tender. So what I'm going to do, I've got some melted lard here, and I'm going to take that and just mop these down really good with it. Now, if you don't have lard or don't want to use lard, you could use beef tallow. You could just put a little beef broth, something like that in here. You want some kind of liquid in here to keep them moist through this process. But I really like the lard. It doesn't change the flavor of it any, but it keeps them really good and moist throughout this wrapping process. And it also helps keep the texture of the meat intact. It just keeps it in a really nice texture. And we want to get these done as quick as we can before they cool down any more than necessary. And that's all we really need to do with that. And we're just gonna, I'm using double foil here. You want to try and get most of the air out so it doesn't steam and all too bad and wash all your bark off that you work so hard for. Well, okay, I'm going to put these right back on the pan I had them on. I'm going to get them back in the smoker, and we're going to leave the smoker at 275 like I mentioned before. I'm going to take these up at least 203, 205, somewhere in there before I even check them. But I'll keep a monitor on the temperature. I'll keep an eye on it. And then we'll check them for probe tenderness. One thing you want to keep in mind anytime you're doing ribs like this or brisket, beef shank, any of the tougher cuts, Mother Nature takes care of all of our moisture. She takes care of all of our flavor. But it's up to us to take care of the tenderness. And it don't matter how good these things taste when you serve them up to your friends and family. If they're tough, they're not going to like them. So we're going to put these back in, get them up to temp, and then we'll check them for probe tenderness in a little while. So we'll be back shortly. Alrighty, we have got our ribs out of the smoker, and they have reached 205 degrees internal temperature. And oh my Lord, they are so beautiful. So what we want to do, we want to do a probe test, make sure everything is tender. And they are just tender as a mother's love. I'll tell you what, couldn't be any better than that. Now, what we want to do, we're going to wrap these back up. And we want to let these rest for a while. I like to let them rest at least an hour, if more if you have time. Now, what I do with mine, I preheat my oven to about 200 degrees, somewhere like that. And when I get ready to put these in, I just turn the oven off. Put these in that warm oven and let it all just cool down together. Now, there's other methods you can do. You can put them in an ice chest, put a blanket in there, some towels on top of them, let them slowly cool down that way. They make insulated sleeves or envelopes that you can put your meat in and let it rest and cool down. I do the oven method. It's just easier for me. But any of the methods work fine. So it's just more what is convenient for you and what you prefer to do. I use the oven method. One thing I want to mention here, you hear everybody talk about letting it rest so the juices can absorb back in and redistribute throughout the meat. Now that's true. That is an important thing, but it's not the most important thing about letting your meat rest. And it doesn't matter whether this is ribs or brisket or whatever. The important thing is that the muscle fibers are really relaxed right now. We've spent a long time slowly getting these muscle fibers to relax. And if we let it cool down too fast, the muscle fibers will react to that and they will tighten back up. It's basically the same thing if somebody comes up behind you and throws a cup of ice water on your back, you're going to react to it and tense up. And believe it or not, the muscle fibers do the same thing. But if we let them slow down, cool down real slow, then they don't go through that shock period and they stay relaxed. So that's the main reason we want to let our meat rest, and that's why we want to let it rest for a long period of time and slowly cool down. So I'm going to put these, I've got my oven already preheated, and I'm just going to stick them in there and let them rest for an hour or so. And then we'll be back and we'll take a closer look at these things and see how we did. All right, we'll see y'all shortly. Okay, we have got our ribs out of the wrap. We let them rest in there for about an hour and a half, just to let them cool down enough where we could work with them. So let's see what we have here. You can see how this meat plumps up so thick and pretty. We're just going to come right down through. Boy, that is so tender. I want you to look at that now. I'll tell you what, that is, if you can see how pretty that is, the moisture in there. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not. And our bark is just gorgeous. They turned out just absolutely fantastic. Just fantastic. Grab me a paper towel here. Wipe my hand off a little bit. I am dying to try a little piece of this. So I'm just going to take some right there. And I don't want quite that big a piece. This is just so tender. It is just slicing through like butter. That is delicious. This is probably the most flavorful cut of beef on a cow. It really is. It is just fabulous. So I'm going to get these cut up and got to get them on a plate and all, and then we'll be back in just a minute. And there you have it. Easy, delicious barbecue everyone will love. So y'all give this a try, because I guarantee you'll like it. So y'all hang around. That up, didn't it? We are going to be smoking up some beautiful beef ribs. Take 3. I like pecan a lot for beef and most red meats. It has a and our temperature is a little over 100 degrees right now, internal temperature. So we just want to take a look and make sure everything's going okay. I don't know why are you having so much trouble with this? Okay, it helps if you turn both cameras on. This is like take 5. So we just want to take a look and make sure everything's going okay and all of that.
Thanks for stopping by. See y'all soon.